Voters are set to pick their candidate in tomorrow's First in the Nation contest. CBS Evening News anchor and managing editor Norah O'Donnell spoke a short time ago with former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley about the state of her campaign. Let's take a listen.
New Hampshire is being characterized as a last-ditch effort to topple Donald Trump. Is that how you see it?
No, think how ridiculous that is. First of all, you had only 56,000 votes in Iowa for him out of 3 million people in the state. He got less than 1.5% of the state of Iowa. And then you're going to say it's going to stop with New Hampshire? This is not a coronation. This is an election. You have Iowa, you have New Hampshire, you have South Carolina, you have Super Tuesday. You can't just have one or two states decide this. You've got to allow a lot of the country to decide this. So, I know that the political elites are saying everybody needs to get behind Donald Trump. Well, I've always fought against the political elites because that's not what the people want.
But if Donald Trump gets over 50%, is this race over?
I think what I've said is I want to be stronger tomorrow than I was in Iowa. And I think we're going to do that. And everybody wants to say what they think is going to happen. But what I'll tell you is if you talk to the people in New Hampshire, they want to make sure that there's somebody that's going to deal with inflation and stop the wasteful spending of Republicans and Democrats. They want to get our kids reading again and go back to the basics in education. They want to secure this border with no more excuses. They want law and order back in our country. And they see the world on fire, and they want to know that we're going to protect Americans and prevent future wars. That's what they're talking about. Nobody's talking about the fact that they think they've got to have Donald Trump. The political elites are talking about that. But your average people are not saying that. They're saying they don't want any more chaos. They want something more stable.
More of that interview later on the CBS Evening News. Our thanks to Norah for sharing that. And for now, we're joined by Nancy Cook and Tom LoBianco. Nancy, senior national political correspondent for Bloomberg News, and Tom is a national politics reporter at 24 Site and also wrote a biography, pretty good one, of former Vice President Mike Pence. Good to see both of you here. Sure sounds like she's saying, everybody take a deep breath. This thing is not over by Wednesday morning. A lot more time to go. Is she going to have the juice necessary, though, Nancy, to keep going?
Well, I think I spoke with her campaign manager over the weekend, and I think that their argument really is that there are a number of undeclared voters in each of these upcoming states, including the Super Tuesday states, and their argument is they're going to try to win over the Republicans who are disenchanted with Trump, as well as these undeclared voters, and basically make that a coalition who can support Nikki Haley. That's sort of their strategy moving forward. I think my question is, will she have the money to continue to compete? Donors have made it clear to her this week that if she doesn't perform well in New Hampshire, that they will not keep giving money to that effort. And so she needs a strong showing, even if it's a second place. It has to show that she's within a close margin to Donald Trump in order to just keep her campaign funded and really competitive through mid-March.
And we should remind people, New Hampshire's tomorrow. South Carolina isn't for what, 5, almost 6 weeks.
Right.
So you have to be able to bankroll something that can last another month and a half, which is not easy, as Ron DeSantis and Tim Scott and others have demonstrated over the last month or so. How close is too close for her to Donald Trump tomorrow night?
Oh boy.
What would cause them worry?
I think if you look at the campaign memos that Susie Wiles and Chris LaCivita, the campaign co-chairs for Trump, put out, I think they'll tell you that anything above 10 points counts as a blowout for Trump, and It should be over. Now, of course, Trump people have been saying it should be over for months now. Shouldn't even be a primary. No debates, no nothing. Should have been done months ago. Haley just now, very interesting, with Norah O'Donnell tamping down the expectations. And we've seen all those polls that have come out recently with her numbers. DeSantis dropping out, Christie dropping out, didn't seem to help her here. Just that low energy primary that's been going on. Judge Judy wasn't enough, at least not yet. So I don't know. I mean, Haley's going to say lower, Trump's going to say higher, and again, Nancy said, is there money to continue?
Right. Do we have any sense, certainly among donors, and then here on the ground, of what DeSantis dropping out at the 11th hour does to either help Trump or Haley?
Well, a lot of the people that I talk to think that it's going to help Trump because DeSantis's record and his rhetoric really was sort of like a Trump light policy. And so a lot of those supporters are expected to go to Trump, and then so it's, I don't think it really helps Haley having, him drop out at all.
You guys get the sense that we have that a lot of the, you said low energy, but a lot of the joy is out of this because it seems so inevitable that at some point here in March, mathematically, Trump will have it and it's basically over?
Well, I don't like to prescribe to that just because, you have to remember Haley, we didn't expect her to be the last one facing
Right.
Trump. And, she really sort of built her campaign slowly. She did very well in the debates. Donors ended up recognizing that and funding her. So I think it's a little bit too early to just say, race is over. Let's see what happens tomorrow night and let's see how she continues to perform. But I think it's safe to say that taking on Trump, who is, really almost an incumbent president, who still has a huge breadth of support in the Republican Party and who really speaks to its voters on key things like immigration and the economy, is going to be very, very tough. And what Haley needs to do is take him on directly, not just about things like his age, which she's done, but also his policies and potentially his behavior. She has been very wary to confront him, and I think that she will really have to step up those attacks on him if she's going to succeed, because he's stepping up the attacks on her.
Real quick, you've tracked running mates or potential running mates before. What do you make of this early list?
I don't buy into the big names making a lot of splash. And this is what I hear from my Trump sources. Stefanik, certainly not Nikki Haley, but there's this, call it the Steve Bannon circa 2017 line. You fly too close to the sun in Trump world. He doesn't like that.
Right.
So the question is, who can get enough attention and then dial it back just a little bit? Stefanik had that with the college presidents. The name I hear a lot, and I wrote a list about this probably about a month ago, Ben Carson keeps coming up independently. I never would have guessed that. Tim Scott, obviously, very into it, got married.
Right. He's going to get married.
Going to get married, got engaged. I'd watch Ben Carson right now.
Okay. We'll see. We got plenty of time to talk about that. But Nancy Cook, Tom LoBianco, thank you for stopping by. I know you guys are just down the hall from us here.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
But we'll talk again soon.